Grand Rising, Grand Evening, whatever time it is for you. So, I'm going to share a couple excerpts from a few poetic transmissions that I've shared with you guys in the past, because I think both of these poetic transmissions are highly significant to this message and what is currently happening globally. The first excerpt is from a poem called Cosmic Waltz that I shared on June 1st, 2025. They tried to silence truth speakers, attempted to blind our seers, indoctrinated believers, bestowed illness on our healers to pacify their fears. You can't quiet what must be spoken, reshield the illusions we've broken, can't eradicate those who've been chosen to crack confides and minds wide open. The next poetic transmission excerpt is a poem I shared on the 11th, actually, of this month, and it's from a poem called Unity. A war on words, a war on class, a war on what's believed. One will become to realize war itself is the disease. Now, we currently have journalists being arrested, protesters and innocent beings being erased, life being stolen, roads that are closing, so that the only road left is the road that leads to truth. You know, I've been a magnet for the black hole soul energy my entire life, like moths to flame. And I truly believe that this is and was by design. And a lot of you who also are dark triad, dark tetrad magnets, you might resonate with what I'm about to share. At this point in my journey, I do see it as a gift that is perfectly aligned with what I've been called to do and be here. For you cannot bring things to light that you do not see or understand. And I've gained a deep, deep understanding of the Dark Triad Collective from being a black hole magnet. How they move, how they shake, how they operate and masticate, consume, and drain. In order to bring all things done in the dark and all operating as the dark to light, one must gain a very, very, a complete understanding of what it is that they are shining a light on, correct? And so I believe that is why that has been my experience. And it truly is mask off. And something that I want to make really clear is, regardless of what it looks like, the war that has been waged, the war that is being waged, is a war on truth. And God is truth. You know, I hear about the return of Christ. I hear about God's judgment. But I don't think people realize that Christ returned long ago in the form, in the energy of every truth speaker that has been oppressed, in every whistleblower that they've sought to silence, in every soul that has stood up to the illusion and stared evil in the face, refusing to look away. Christ energy, Christ on consciousness, the energy of truth and awareness has been here, just as the black hole soul energy has been here as well. But God is all. Remember that. God is all. Truth. Let me tell you something about these black hole soul energies. There are but three things that they can't seem to contend with: boundaries, accountability, and truth. And you know, it starts really small. A breach in human rights here, an amendment overstep there. But something that I want to make really clear is that there is no amount of power, domination, or control that satiates a black hole soul. It is insatiable. And so silence is compliance. And those who have silently watched over the years as these small immoral infractions turned into a hostile takeover, very end of times, right? They don't realize how long this psyop has really been playing out. Continued feeding of super egos, the God complexes, until they suck in everything and everyone, including those who supported the tyranny. Thinking they're safe from the beast because they fawn and enable, not realizing they've branded themselves as the weakest and easiest soul to feast, saving the weakest of the lambs for last. Things must deconstruct, and that is what's currently occurring. Please hold your frequency. That is the main point of this message. Hold your ground. This is a war on truth, a war on speech, a war on belief, a war on free will, free thought form, on sovereignty. It is a war against God. And they are descending to be met with that mirror, the mirror of truth. But in that descent, they will try to pull anyone and everyone down with them. And I can't really empathize with this, but I think I can imagine how being disconnected from God, being connected from truth, is probably a soul deep loneliness and emptiness, which is probably why they are so unsatiated. An infinite loop of needing, wanting, not having, too much, never being enough. Because I would think that it is probably a soul deep longing for truth, for self, for connection, and to operate disconnected. I think that that's a type of loneliness and emptiness that I can never contend with or understand. But they are descending. And so while this is happening, it is very important to stand firm. Keep speaking truth, even when your voice shakes. Continue to rise, even as the ground shakes. Hold your frequency, my loves. Continue to hold your frequency. Convergence is a very destructive, chaotic, and loud point, where two polarities merge into one. That is quite a destructive process. So I think that what is being reflected back to us is that very truth. But please keep your eyes transfixed on what lies beyond the noise, the silence beyond the noise, the peace beyond the chaos. And when you continue to be that stillness, be that silence, be that peace, be that awareness, and be that truth, you help anchor it in a lot more quickly and a lot more seamlessly. Don't allow the actors, don't allow the grand egoic display of worldwide narcissistic injury to shake you or leave you ungrounded. It helps to objectively observe and really see things for what they are and what they will be. The only thing that stays the same is change, and we will get through this together. I'm sending you so much love to the universe and beyond. Bye.